wonder murmur where whispers weave the heart.
Hello, little hearts. A new whisper begins. In a hidden corner of a vast, ancient forest, there lived a silent world of plants. Trees whispered secrets to the sky, and flowers shared news on the breath of a bee. They were a quiet, harmonious community, each one finding its place in the gentle rhythm of nature. One fine spring morning, between the stoic roots of a wise pine tree and the bright, smiling face of a sunflower, a glowing seed began to stir. From the rich, dark soil, a stem pushed its way toward the sun, and from it bloomed a flower of breathtaking beauty. Her petals were a rich, velvety crimson, and she smelled of morning dew and sweet honey. She was a rose, and she named herself Rosalind as she unfurled her petals. The sunflower, whose face followed the sun all day long, greeted her with a warm smile. "Hello there. Your petals are a truly magnificent color. We're so glad you've joined our family." Beside her, a cactus, sturdy and green, offered a gentle nod. "Your beauty is extraordinary. I've never seen anything quite like it." Rosalind, however, didn't smile back. Instead, she straightened her stem with a haughty air. "Thank you," she replied, her voice like a chime of tiny bells. "But not everyone can be born so beautiful and fragrant. It's a gift, you see." The other plants were taken aback. They had never heard such a boastful tone. Rosalind, completely unaware of their surprise, continued to admire her own perfect petals. "I am, quite obviously, the most beautiful flower in this entire forest. My petals are shiny, my fragrance is divine. Who could possibly compare?" The pine tree, old and patient, rustled its branches. "There are many kinds of beauty, little one. The cactus, for example, is beautiful in its quiet strength, and he is one of the most useful plants here." Rosalind scoffed, a tiny disdainful sound. "How dare you compare me to that prickly creature? He is nothing but a thorn-covered lump." The cactus shrank a little, his proud, strong form suddenly seeming small. He did not say a word, for he felt the sting of her cruel words more sharply than any of his thorns. From that day on, Rosalind's arrogance grew with every drop of rain. She never spoke a kind word, only boasted of her own perfection and mocked the others for their simple looks. "What would you know of beauty?" she'd sneer at the cactus. "You don't even have a proper bloom." Days turned into weeks, and spring's gentle kiss gave way to summer's fierce embrace. The sun, once a friend, became a relentless ruler. The other plants, wise in the ways of the forest, knew how to survive. The sunflower, a beacon of yellow joy, followed the sun's rays, gathering strength and storing energy. The trees, with their deep roots, drew on hidden reservoirs of water. The cactus, however, was the master of summer. He had a secret. His body was a living storage tank, holding every drop of water from the winter rains. Birds and small animals, thirsty and desperate, would land on his broad green skin, and he would willingly share a small life-giving sip. But Rosalind, in all her vanity, had only ever thought of her looks, not her survival. She had no way to store water. As the days grew hotter and drier, her leaves began to curl. Her once perfect petals turned soft and began to wither. One by one, they fell to the ground, a sob crimson confetti on the parched earth. Panic set in. "Oh no," she cried, her voice a fragile whisper. "My beauty is gone. My petals are wilting away." She saw the cactus, strong and full, surrounded by a flutter of tiny birds. He was a pillar of life in the dying heat, a quiet hero of the forest. Rosalind's pride fought a brutal battle with her desperation. To ask for help from the one she had mocked was a thought more painful than the wilting itself. But as another petal, her last one, trembled and fell, her shame finally gave way to a powerful, humble truth. She turned to the cactus, her voice trembling. "Cactus," she whispered, her head bowed low. "Please, can you help me? I was wrong. I was so wrong. You are not just useful. You are a lifeline. Your kindness is more beautiful than any flower. The pine tree is wise, and the sunflower brings so much joy. I am so sorry for my cruel words." The cactus, his kind heart seeing her genuine humility, did not hesitate. He gently released some of his stored water into the ground around her roots. Rosalind could feel the life-giving liquid spreading through her stem. A cool, invigorating rush. Her wilting leaves straightened, and new, vibrant petals began to unfurl, even brighter and more beautiful than before. From that day on, Rosalind was a changed flower. She still held her beauty, but she carried it with a new grace and quietness. She no longer boasted or mocked. Instead, she learned to look past appearances, to appreciate the quiet strength of the cactus, the cheerful perseverance of the sunflower, and the unwavering wisdom of the pine tree. She understood that every plant in the forest, no matter how different they looked, had a unique and valuable purpose. She had learned a vital lesson, that true beauty is not in the color of one's petals or the sweetness of one's scent, but in the kindness of one's heart and the willingness to give. For in the end, it was not her appearance that saved her, but the quiet, generous spirit of the plant she had once scorned.
Wonder murmur, the story departs, yet the whisper imparts.